After a few hours, the road got very bad, and walking became so difficult that the Scarecrow often fell over, but he didn't mind because he couldn't feel any pain. The farms were not nearly so well cared for here. There were fewer houses and fewer fruit trees. The further they went, the sadder and lonelier the countryside became. At noon, they sat down by the roadside near a little river, and Dorothy opened her basket and got out some bread. She offered a piece to the Scarecrow, but he said no.
I am never hungry, he said, and it is lucky that I am not, because my mouth is only painted. If I cut a hole to make a mouth, the straw would come out. That would make my head look strange.
Dorothy saw that this was true, so she went on eating her bread.
Tell me something about yourself and the country you come from,
Said the Scarecrow. So she told him all about Kansas, how gray everything was there, and how the cyclone had carried her to this strange land of Oz. The Scarecrow listened carefully and said,
I cannot understand why you should wish to leave this beautiful country and go back to the dry, gray place you call Kansas.
That is because you have no brains, answered the girl. No matter how sad and gray our homes are, we real people would like to live there more than in any other country. There is no place like home.
Of course I cannot understand it,
Said the Scarecrow.
If your heads were full of straw like mine, you would probably all live in the beautiful places, and then Kansas would have no people at all. It is lucky for Kansas that you have brains.
Won't you tell me a story while we are resting? Asked the girl. The Scarecrow looked at her and answered,
My life has been so short that I really know nothing whatsoever. I was only made the day before yesterday, so I know nothing about what happened before then. Luckily, when the farmer made my head, one of the first things he did was to paint my ears so that I could hear. Then he painted my eyes, and as soon as he had finished, I found myself looking at him and at everything around me with a great deal of interest, for this was my first sight of the world. Then he made my nose and my mouth, but I did not speak because at the time I didn't know what a mouth was for. I had the fun of watching him make my body and my arms and legs. And when he put on my head, I felt very proud, for I thought I was just as good as any man. The farmer carried me to the cornfield, and he put me on the tall pole where you found me. Then he left me. I did not like being left, so I tried to follow him. But my feet would not touch the ground, and I had to stay on the pole. It was a lonely life, for I had nothing to think about. Many crows and other birds flew into the field, but as soon as they saw me, they flew away again. This pleased me and made me feel quite an important person. But soon a wise old crow flew near me and, after looking at me carefully, he said,
I wonder if that farmer really thought I would think you are real. Any wise crow could see that you are only filled with straw.
Then he went and ate all the corn he wanted. The other birds, seeing that I was not doing anything to him, came to eat the corn too. I felt sad, for it showed that I was not a good scarecrow, but the wise old crow made me feel happier by saying,
If you had brains, you would be as good as any man. Brains are the only things worth having in this world, no matter whether one is a crow or a man.
When the crows had gone, I decided to try and get some brains. But good luck, You came along and took me off the pole, and from what you say, I am sure the Great Oz will give me brains as soon as we get to the Emerald City."
I hope so, said Dorothy, since you really seem to want them.
"Oh, yes, I do," replied the Scarecrow. "It is such a horrible feeling knowing one is a fool."
Well, said the girl, let us go. And she handed the basket to the Scarecrow. There were no fences at all by the roadside now, and the road was bad. Towards evening they came to a great forest where the trees were so big that they met over the road. It was almost dark under the trees, but the travelers did not stop.
"If this road goes in, it must come out,"
said the Scarecrow. After an hour or so, it got dark. Dorothy could not see at all, but the Scarecrow said he could see as well as in the daytime. So she held his arm. "If you see a house or any place where we could stay the night," she said, "you must tell me, for it is not much fun walking in the dark."
"I can see a little house," he said, "made of wood. Shall we go there?"
"Yes," answered the girl, because she was very tired. So the Scarecrow led her through the trees until they reached the little house, and Dorothy entered and found a bed of dried leaves in one corner. She lay down at once and, with Toto beside her, soon fell asleep. The Scarecrow, who was never tired, stood up in another corner and waited until morning.